Well, hello. You've heard of the Lamy 2000. Well, Reform went one better. The Reform company, which sadly is no longer in business, decided to go with the Reform 4000.
Alright, so let's take a look at the Reform 4000. So at first it doesn't look like anything special. This is no Pelican M1000 or something, but this is one of their better offerings from Reform. On the outside, nothing. So branding isn't their deal. I would almost claim that this is kind of a well-known look for Reform pens with the green and black, but it's also kind of a well-known look for Pelican, so sorry. Uncap it. We've got a segmented ink window, so it's a piston filler. We have a feed that we've seen before. And we have a... Come on. There we go. We have a very nice little gold Reform nib. That 585 that's written on it tells me it's gold. I'm not sure what the 140 tells me. And then, of course, Germany. So when we have a classy pen like this, we gotta put the best Parker Quink washable blue in it. I've seen these pens sold for, well, several $100s down to like $50, depending on what you're willing to pay. I saw a pen and pencil set. It was quite a bit. Very tempted by it, but I don't really use mechanical pencils, so my smarter, let's not spend the money crazy. Let's stay within our pen budget. Part of my brain took over. But I've been very curious how this thing is going to write. Okay, so a little bit of an inauspicious beginning, but I will say in its defense that this pen probably has not been inked up in decades. Probably not since the 1970s, maybe the 1980s, but it's a 70s era pen. And some pens just need a little bit of time to start writing properly, so I don't know with this pen. I won't know. That's the weakness of a first impression, so that's why I filmed the me talking parts later after I've had some experience with the pen. So, of course, I told you this is Parker Quink. Oh, yeah, it's already writing a lot better. Parker Quink, washable blue. The nib does kind of look like it's a medium. There's nothing written on it, but that's what it looks like. As far as flex, I think you can already see, without me even trying, it has some. Oh, we let a little bit of railroading there. No pressure, some pressure. So yeah, we've got a bit of flex to this pen. As far as wetness and flow, this seems to do pretty well. Smear test. I think you can already tell this is going to be kind of smeary. Woo! Reverse writing. Make sure I'm still on camera. Gross. Dare I use the word useless? Now, when I do the world famous Peer Gustafson test, I'm going to predict that it doesn't pass, because with this flex thing, I think it's going to outpace its feed. And I am right. But look how quickly it refilled. So, don't use it for Pierre Gustafson tests. And I think you've got a fun writer here. Alright, so now we're looking at the Reform 4000. This time it's much later than when I first filmed it. And I've got that squirrel that Chris Rapp 52 gave me for Christmas, holding him up. But we still have the same problem that we saw before. This nib wants to wobble. So I was wondering about it, and during my visit with Pierre Gustafson, we took it out, and we discovered a little crack. See if you can see it right there in the nib collar. Now, I'd like to try fixing that, but in the meantime, I got to thinking, well, I think it's forced on too far, for one thing. But I got to thinking, what if I have a nib collar just like it? So I won't tell you what pen sacrificed its nib collar, but one of my Reform pens did. Not one of the shining stars of my collection, but a pen nonetheless. So we'll pull out the nib and feed. And here is the new nib collar. Looks about the same. So I'm going to just... It was on the other way, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Okay, so I ran into a problem. The new nib collar doesn't want to fit over the original ebonite feed. So, I've got the feed, which is plastic, from the pen that sacrificed its collar. No, I didn't try this before. So let's see if we can get it to fit now. I didn't actually try this before. So we'll just slip the nib collar over top of this business to the bottom of the feed. Snork the nib up in there nicely. And looks good. And now let's try fitting it in here. Okay, so the nib still wants to wobble around. Okay, so I'm going to just grab the steel nib real quick. I'm just curious. So yes, the pen I borrowed from had a steel nib in it. Let's put the two nibs side by side. Definitely very different shapes. So we've got our gold nib here, our steel nib here. Why can't anything go smooth? And our fending nib collar. Arrgh. Oh, this is interesting. This offending nib collar is actually very tight on the ebonite feed too. So I'm having this crazy thought. I'm going to try the ebonite feed one more time. Now that this is screwed in. Kind of seeing it's slightly thinner on one side. So I'm going to put the nib on that side. Oh no, I cannot get that ebonite feed in there. Really doesn't want to go in. No matter what I do. I see why. So look down in there. You see the little pin in the new one? I wonder if I'm catching on that. The old one does not have a little pin. So how can I get that little pin to go away?
well, with a knife, but I need a knife small enough to fit in there. But that's why I can fit this puppy in. Be right back, I had an idea. Okay, so the idea was I have another reform I'm not particularly enamored of. Comes with this, it did come with a gold nib, but I just, wasn't especially thrilled with the pen. So I'm just taking off the nib collar here. We'll set its, ebonite feed down to the side here where you can't see. And here's the collar from the one I just took out. And now I'm thinking, let's put this plastic feed back with the plastic nib. Let's take these two nice parts that I like. Let's put them in this nib collar. And let's try putting the nib collar. It's not wobbling. So I think I've got some success here. We'll screw this in. Okay, I have that nice flex that I like. Let's set these other parts to the side here. But now I'm curious, what's this pen like to write with? Well, we've already done Parker Quink washable blue in it, so I think something a little more exciting is called for. I don't know about you. I'm feeling, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little bit of Kyonaoto Hisoku. So snork that in there. Get some bubbling. A little more bubbling. We'll call that a good full fill. And let's do some writing. So I went back in time and found my original writing sample. Let's just do it again with this ink. Oh, we're railroading. Filled right back up though. So we're railroading again. Okay, I reseated the nib a little bit deeper. I think that's was my problem. Find out. Oh yeah. So this is that same nib. Oh, we're railroading again. But that seems to have been a momentary blip. As far as flex, we're doing very well here. Railroaded a little there. Wetness and flow. Not bad. Smear test. Seems to be wet. Reverse writing. And a little ink starvation there. But it starts right back up. Horrible, but it was horrible before. And finally, the world famous Peer-Gustafson test. So all in all, I don't think I've improved it. But I think with regular writing, I'm kind of curious to see what this pen does as I write with it. I may revise my opinion. So, I'm actually filming this a week or so early. When I film my pens in use, this pen will headline it, and I'll update you on how it behaves after it's had a chance to sit with some ink in it. I don't know what else to say, but I am enjoying it a lot more with this nib collar in it. So that was the Reform 4000. Since then, I have visited Pierre Gustafson in person, and we discussed the nib, and we discovered that the nib collar was actually cracked. So the cracked nib collar definitely explains some of the weirdness. Alright, so that's the Reform 4000. Now that the nib collar is fixed, I'm very thrilled with it. Very nice pen to write with. Very comfortable. It's slimmer. It's described by some sellers as being a little bit larger pen, but it's a slimmer pen. And okay, editing squirrel here. So I'm editing this video together, and here's what's up with the pen. It writes beautifully, but then it suddenly starves. But if I wait just an instant, it's right back up there. So I don't know if I'm writing just a hair too heavy for it or what's up, but I am pretty happy with how it's writing now. It's just, when I start writing a lot of lines all at once, it's just like, oh, yeah, we're done here. Unless I pause for an instant, then it writes again. So make of that what you will. Of course, we always want to know how it does with the pocket. Let's stuff it over the t-shirt. This sweater is way too thick. I don't have a pocket, but we'll stuff it over the t-shirt. Yeah, went on right, just perfect. So all in all, I'd say it's a very nice pen. I don't feel like it's as high a quality as the Lamy 2000, but I still feel that it's a very nice pen. So I really happy I bought it. I like that classic green combination, and I'm just overall thrilled. So yeah, another nice little surprise in this whole vintage pen journey. Yep, it's editing me again. So overall, I guess I was a little too optimistic in this pre-recorded thing, because yeah, I am happy with it, but not thrilled with it. But I can work with it. I just have to pause to think a little bit while I write. So daily writer it will not be, but it is a good pen. So, and I enjoy the nib, so I'm happy to have it. So I want to thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.